I wanted to build a hot rod, but wanted to do it a little differently. Hot rodders traditionally started with a stock car and then modified it to make it faster and improve handling and appearance. My approach was to start with something already fast and with great handling, a race car, and then make as few changes to the basic chassis and engine as possible, but still build a great-looking street car with high performance. We started with a 2003 Radical SR3 race car built in Peterborough, England. It weighed 1,250 pounds with a 240 horsepower Suzuki Hayabusa 4-cylinder dry sump motorcycle engine and a 6-speed sequential gearbox and a Quaife differential. Our goal was to keep the weight as close to the original race car weight as possible so we could retain the high power to weight ratio of about 5 pounds per horsepower. This would be the equivalent of 600 horsepower for a 3,000-pound car. Our initial design and fabrication was by Jeb Greenstone of Cutworm Specialties from Hayesville, North Carolina, a talented build-from-scratch hot rod designer and builder. We started with wire frames for the body and fenders. All panels were formed without the use of traditional wooden bucks. To keep from weakening the basic tube frame chassis, we chose to have inoperable doors and allow access with T-tops and by stepping over the window frame. The T-tops are removable with quick release pins. The new body contours required that we redesign the exhaust system, and I knew there was no one more capable of this than my old friend Jack Burns, the founder of Burns Stainless. Jack had designed and fabricated exhaust systems for dragsters, NASCAR, Trans Am, Formula Atlantic, Bonneville racers, boats, and even airplanes.
My name is Jack Burns, and my friend is Jeff Wells, and he asked me specifically to help build the exhaust system, but the requirement was that this thing has to be muffled down to drive it on the street. It had to be tricked, and he also wanted to have a different sound signature from a typical motorcycle 4-cylinder engine. Typically, on a 4-cylinder, you put both pipes into one muffler, but no, we can't do that. We have to split it off again and run into a muffler that's bespoke designed here for this application. We made it adjustable internally, and you can adjust both sides pipes to create a different sound signature. In fact, this muffler can be pulled apart and readjusted at any time. I have some special materials that I could mock up to create that shape. Best way I can tell you is that both pipes coming and pointing directly at each other internally. These are kind of telescoping tubes. The closer you get them together, the more they explode into each other and burst apart the sound waves, or the sound signature totally changes.
Once the initial design and primary fabrication was completed, we moved the car out to Costa Mesa for testing and final fabrication. Road trials and wind tunnel tests suggested that we needed some major rework for performance and reliability. We changed the bodywork for better cooling and stability at high speeds, modified the fuel system for safety, built subframes so the body panels would be sturdy and could be removed, and rubber-mounted all engine components. We modified the T-tops for ease of removal and installed additional engine gauges. Seats were fabricated and suspension modified. We lined the fenders with Kevlar to eliminate rock damage. There was a lot more work than we'd anticipated.
Well, hi, Simon Leach is my name. I'm a panel beater. We called them panel beaters back in our day from New Zealand. And this is the car that I built here with Jeff. It's a Radical SR3. And when I first met Jeff and went and had a look at the car, I looked under and I saw it was a Radical under there and I went, wow, this is a serious car. We've got great bones underneath and the car will be fabulous. It'll have a fabulous result. It'll handle beautifully. It's going to be a great car. So everything that I've done on the car has come from something else where I've learnt from somewhere else. One of the most challenging parts of the car is it all has to come apart because you have to be able to service it. And like a race car, it has to all come to completely pieces. And so it was like making a jigsaw puzzle. So you'd really, you go to bed thinking about this, you wake up thinking about how it's all going to go together. But it all does. It all does come apart. Yeah, let's do it. Let's go.
To be able to gain access to engine, transmission, and suspension components, all body panels had to be removable. They are attached with Zeus fasteners and aircraft hardware. When you work on a project for 10 years, you have a chance to experiment with different approaches and solutions. A few work the first time and some take 3 or 4 attempts of fine-tuning to get something simple and straightforward. It's hard to sometimes just trust the guys to come up with a solution that you might have to rework. But by doing so, you often end up with a surprise that makes your jaw drop. I'm really pleased with how the great experiment turned out. The Rad Rod is truly a race car morphed into a hot rod. But something else happened that I hadn't anticipated. When you have the opportunity to work with some really great craftsmen and good people over a long period of time, you become great friends. Maybe as important as the physical results are the lifelong bonds that develop when you've been thrown into challenges together and come out with some really cool accomplishments. I'm proud of what the guys created.